Okay, I'm not going to mention any of the details surrounding this video until after I show you what took place in this video. It was interrupted. Here's the second. They stopped my phone from recording. They stopped my phone from recording so he wouldn't get caught lying. Ain't that about a bitch? So he just lied about having a crib. He claimed he had it for 2 years. And last time I seen him, he was hurting. I journaled about all that stuff. You know what? Matter of fact, let's look at some things. I'm at the library. They stopped. Okay, so like I said, they stopped my phone from recording. And what I'm about to show you is my digital journal. I'm going to show you my digital journal when he approached. Hold on. The librarian is kind of lurking around. That's from 2017 while I was at the university. I'm just going to waste a little bit of time before I talk about the subject. 2017. Hey, look right there. 1969. My mother was born in 1961. But they were calling me her during that time. And at that time, I was staying at her place. I had just gotten back. I'd been back from California for about 4 or 5 months. But that's an example of the type of device that they took that LG Liversto on more than one occasion. They put it back a couple of times. But when they put it back, they changed the settings on it and suggested it was a different time and date. So I guess they were acting like I was the privilege with a cell phone in 1969. That's crazy. The librarian is making sure she comes back and forth over my way. So what I'm doing is I'm just like kind of looking at what cell phones were back right then. So look, what I did was I was trying to find what cell phones were like in 1969 overseas, because their cell phones, they always have it's nothing like the phones in America, so to speak. They always have some other stuff. So anyhow, but it was all around way before then. Where is it? In my What is Gang Stalking video, I talk about, 4 or 5G advancements being like hidden modules to pretty much make created racist function better and more efficiently. So think of how created racists were during the time of 0G, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, and now 5G. Oh, it was something. So, okay, so she finally came and got her card and went on. So, when I saw him approaching, which you don't get to see because they stopped that video, I was like, oh no, don't stop and wait, don't stop and wait, don't stop and wait. I thought he was just gonna wait, but he stopped and wait. And he was talking to his neighbor that he said he hated. So when I approached, I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, okay. I'm like, why you limping? And he's like, oh, I had knee surgery a couple years back. It's just acting up today. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, I said, I thought she beat you up. Talking about his wife. He has a wife. And he was like, nah. He said, look, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't think that, a woman is able to beat a man up. He said, I just don't think. And then he said, well, hold up, I got a cousin though that has they get his ass whooped on a regular, right, females or whatever. And I said, yeah, because I was gonna say it's very, it's possible, So and during that time, they were flashing images of like past experiences that I've had with guys and like me going upside their heads. So so we walked about 10-15 feet before he crossed and went to his cousin's store at Dollar Plus and More. But when he asked me, he said, so when you want me to come by and visit you? And I'm like, I'm not. You're in a really bad situation, And he was like, no, man, I'm about to get out of that. I'm about to get out of the same thing he says every time. I'm about to get out of that. He was like, and besides, I got a place. I'd have had it for like 2 years. Told a bold-faced lie. Said he had a place. He'd have had it for 2 years. And that he, go there when he tries to get away from her. Which is not the truth. And so then he said, come on, like, when you gonna let me take you out to eat or something? And I'm like, no, pretty much. And he's like, well, think about it and let me know. And I'm like, okay, or whatever. And I asked him, I said, how did things ever turn out with you and your cousin? And he was like, oh, like, pretty much it didn't, He was like, I was like, yeah, that's like a lot of money or whatever. He was like, yeah, and I ain't able to let it go. But that's where he was headed. So anyhow, we parted ways. Quick, short, but it was sabotage. So when I said, let's come in here and look at some things, this is what I was talking about. So this is my digital journal. It is 115 pages long. I started it on the 22nd of October because on the 23rd, maybe, I put my hard copy, like my written journal, in storage. So this is just a little example of what it's like. It outlines the details. The best thing about the digital journal is I'm able to include photos. So on this day, where is it at? I think it was before this. Hold on, let me find it. Okay, so on the 24th, every time they're trying to sabotage me, they'll show up in one of these identities that I don't necessarily shun, So on the 24th, the same day that I woke and my right forearm was swollen, they were corrupting the code, claiming that I was someone that I wasn't, calling me a nasty female, and suggesting that I was given fellatio and put a bump on my face. Every time they put a bump on my face, they claim that I'm giving someone fellatio. So that same day, he shows up. Here it is right here. He shows up at the library. He was acting like he was looking for me when he has no business looking for me. And he never comes in here for me. And I'm just going to capture the entire entry. Maybe I should read it to you. Okay, so 329 Lindenwood came into the library out of nowhere to sabotage me. He claimed he'd been looking for me on my street. He has no business or no reason to be looking for me. At that time we spoke, he didn't know where Upland. The last time we spoke, he didn't know where Upland Avenue was. He offered me a ride and I declined. I remained on the sidewalk and he was in his vehicle on the opposite side of the street, a tan SUV. He talked bad about his baby mom, his wife, as usual, who's a RN, and claimed he was going to visit his folks. Flashed some money and did what they always do. Talked about what they always have on them. He acted like he didn't hear me say I had nothing. Came in here acting like he was looking for me, suspicious and panic like. If you listen to the conversation, it sounds harmless, but he and I know that what his intent was. These are the actions of male and female agents. He wanted to act acquainted, show desire, and have somewhat a meaningful conversation to receive favor. He and his cousin fell out, dollar plus more. Now, dollar plus and more. Not the one that offered me money for my phone bill last year, but the younger one claimed some shit that they were doing didn't fall through. Something happened in transit from California. Said 68,000 was at stake. Showed me his new weapon. I showed him the DP-12 shotgun I've been secretly crushing on. Wanted to get rid of his baby mom. Said she used to be in the military. I told him again that I was gonna beat her ass, if he didn't clean that situation up, but he cleaned it up. So it hasn't been anything since then. And that's in a recent video. And it's on Facebook in my drawing awareness thread. It's called Ratchet Bitch. Because she just kind of went off on me for no reason. Because I was laughing about her going off on him. It was crazy. I was like an innocent bystander, and she running around calling adult women bitches. He said he knows she's messing around. He found her life insurance policy. They have 4 kids, or he got 4 with her, and that he thinks, he takes care of his cousin's kids. That's what that's supposed to say. We talked about the government, my bloodline, what it meant for me to be me, who they are, and their true appearance, And when I say who they are, we're talking about, these entities, these alien entities, Satan's bloodline, whatever that is. And he was interrupting me to keep me from doing what I was doing. I was working on some stuff at the time. I managed to show him some things that I was working on indirectly just to disturb me. He tried not to pay attention to the screen too much. The only thing that can get you results other than killing your problem is trying to get footage that suggests that you're acquainted with me or acting like you're me. So I told you that morning they corrupted my code, which means that they were claiming that he was me and I was him. The same thing happened today, and I did not expect to run into him. I should have known something was going to happen. So hold on. Bloodline suggests. Anyhow, it's a lot of details. I'll talk about me, letting him know that I recall the last conversation that, we had about everything, and he talked about his mom being a minister and stuff like that. And at the time, he was saying, that if this money situation didn't fall through that, it's going to put him in a bad spot. But now he showed up today talking about he got an apartment, a place that he'd had for 2 years, and that's never come up. He's always been talking like he needs to move. He going to move. He going to, he got to get away from her. But today he told about his life like he got a spot. He was trying to act like me. I've had my place for 2 years. So they're going to suggest that that I'm not living where I'm saying, and that I'm not who I say I am, and claim that he's me. That audio manipulation with those identities is just horrible shit comes from that. And this morning I was writing about a political attack. And hold on. Wait, I'm gonna show you some more stuff. I almost turned around and started walking the other direction. It was that bad. I'm like, things happen at the library as usual. But what I'm about to show you is On the 27th, they chipped my tooth. I was about to go to jail that night. I was about to murder those in the apartment beneath me that night. When I kind of murder all I resorted to this, I was on her to have the cops come because they was stinking at my apartment with meth. That's the type of shit that they say that I'm doing. They want my good behavior, my good efforts to be applied towards them so that they can escape their karmic debt. They can't attract anything. Extreme stuff they were doing to my identity over those recent days. The day of going to Walmart, that night, the next morning. Magic Pixels, the lighting. They claiming both of them, me and got them in the same area. They slammed me into the wall with physics. I was stretching like upside down and they just kind of slammed me against the wall. And if you look, you can see the indents from how hard they slammed me. So I had like some scrape. That's a little bit of blood. And so my knee and my toe. $315 down, the duplex beneath me, or the apartment beneath me, and the duplex that I stay in tried to set me up. He ain't even got no business near my motherfucking porch. This is in the form of a link, and it's attached to a video that's scheduled to be released. So it will get out, and it has, like I said, a lot of detail in it. So that's where he went. That's right across the street from where I am. This is the entry that I made. I guess I gotta capture it this way. So I saw the guy that says that as I approached the library, they kept stopping my recording. He was smoking a cigarette and talking to the neighbor. So today what I did different, like I said, I guess I gotta show you this other video. Hold on, before I finish this, let me show you the video. So it's like 1:39. I just left Grant Street drive-through, and said, hey, stranger, long time no see. And I said, hey, how you been? He said, Black and Mild, the cigarette thing. Like, they always try to suggest that I'm doing something like that. So, and that's the first time. Now, hold up. The only reason he did this is because it's become obvious that I have Will. The officer's making her way around here now. It's become obvious that I have Will, and that I don't have a dependency, and that I only do things for a certain reason, and that also I don't get any of these things when I do them. So, he was mad that I showed up. That's all it is, like. Never really like taking a dig. And he made it seem like a clean mistake. So, I got to. And he said, I thought you moved. I said, no, I'm still at the same place. And he said, oh, okay. And so if you saw my journal entry, that would make so much sense. I was talking about a political attack earlier, and they just showed up to witness. That's literally all I had to do to get them off my back. That mount will last a long time. So it's like 1:39. Okay, so the Black and Mild, it lets them know that my mentality, that they can't shift my perspective, and that I don't have any of the conditions that they're claiming that I have. Back to the journal entry. Okay, so anyhow, it says, they kept stopping my recording. He was limping, smoking a cigarette. And mind you, I just came from this park, smoking a little bit of a Black and Mild. And, smoking a cigarette, talking to the neighbor that he told me he hated. While waiting on me to get closer, he walked about 10-15 feet together before he went to his cousin's Dollar Plus and More store at 1465 Astor Avenue. I think my location has been manipulated to suggest that I was there before, while I was in reality at 1486 Astor Avenue, the Firestone Branch Library. He tried to holler at me as usual. I declined. I told him his situation was much too bad for me. He went on to lie and said he had a place of his own that he'd had for 2 years. Again, how he was about to leave her. I asked had he and his cousins straightened out the money situation. He said no, and it wasn't going to take, and he wasn't going to take a loss. Asked if he could take me out to eat and for me to think about it. Ultimately, he tried to set me up. It was just a way to sabotage me. So, earlier that day, this is what I wrote before I left home. So, let's see, 12 p.m. You see the officer just kind of lingering around. The political attack. They were plotting to politically attack me. So, 12 p.m., they reiterated twice today over the past 2 days. I don't need to know about that. Nothing. Today, I'm going to purchase a Black and Mild. Haven't had one and didn't intend on having one, but I know what it proves because I saw something taking place. Can't articulate right now. That's supposed to say can't, because I still can't put all of it together. It would take me too long to put it all into words, all the things that are surrounding this. So I said, but it has something to do with a political attack in which they were going to use the neighbors to distract, manipulation of what agents were showing up and where, lying about my location, and creating a situation that's not supposed to take place. I saw one of the guys think he'd rather me kill a doctor